What up, guys? This is Casey's Rock, and this is Video Game Hunting episode 46, part 1. Just got out of work. Got out of work a lot later than I want, and I'm like ultra frustrated right now. Today was extremely frustrating. So, me getting out of here and heading to the game stores, I need it. I badly need just to look around. To the point I was so frustrated that I got, at one point, lightheaded. I don't know, it's partially the freaking weather being so humid. I mean, it wasn't hot, it was just humid. And, like, it's 88 degrees right now, but the humidity is like awful. And you figure, I'm wondering, why is the humidity a huge problem when it's not that hot, but I'm still sweating like it's 110 degrees. But I'm rushing to go to the video game store. At least I'm going to try to hit a couple vintage stocks. I have to. I mean, today I really hadn't looked. Well, I looked one day because I'm bored. But, I'm just frustrated. I still got a headache. I've been battling a headache for several days now. What's good news is that I was just talking to my best friend via text message that we're thinking about doing a podcast together. And I'm thinking it'd just be cool. We could talk about old school, what we used to do in school, some of the stuff we were used to do, hang out, then after school, after we graduated. I think it'd be a fun thing to do. So, that's what I'm planning to do. I don't know if I'm going to hit the game store because it's 5:20 and they close at 6. I think it'd be like 5:45 before I get there and have 15 minutes to look around. It was an extremely frustrating day, dude. Trying to figure out some air ride issue on the trailer. And, it was hard. It was extremely hard. The thing was, the set tires, the section where the tires are, we call tandem. And what retracts, there's pins that stop the tandems from sliding back and forth. People can move their said tandems forward, all the way back. But a lot of times there's a pull handle, but sometimes there's an air ride system that does that. And this is one of those air rides. So it was just, I was getting air to the system, but for some reason it was retracting the pins. If you put air onto the trailer, you can't retract the pins. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to stop it from moving. So, but when you pull the air off, there should be air in the air tank. Enough air in the air tank to where it releases those pins. Well, I was replaced that valve and still was having issues. So I was like, okay. So I continued following airlines. And then it's like, so I follow it to the air tank. The air tank, so I was like, maybe it's this check valve right here. Maybe it's all clogged up. And the check valve, what it does is stops it from retracting back and forth. That's all it's supposed to do. It's supposed to apply air one way and not bring it back. If it needed to go back and forth, there's no point having a check valve there. But when I pulled the check valve off, there was completely no air coming out of the air tank. Like, I even undid what's called the petcock on the bottom air tank. And, I thought the petcock was bad. I thought it was just spinning. So I was like, fuck. So I was like, fuck it about that. I just didn't have time to deal with that. But, when I took off that check valve, I was like, okay, there's no air completely coming out of this air tank. To the point where I put air to the system when it has a giant hole where the check valve is supposed to be. It's supposed to just blaring out air. But it wasn't. So I was like, oh shit. Dude, I was wondering how the guy was moving, because without air coming to the emergency valve, or I don't know how he was moving. So I was talking to the lead mechanic. It was like, it's got to be what's called the emergency valve. It supplies air to the airbags and certain other things. That what's called a leveling valve to the brake chambers, and to sometimes to this tandem pull air ride. So I was like, it's got to be that, because there was no air in that tank. So I finally replaced it, and finally everything started to work. I was like, thank freaking God. I even had to tell the driver, it's like, sometimes following this takes time. It was like, the guy was like, coming back and forth, like, is this going to be a big issue? Like, well, I replaced one thing when he first came by, and it was already just a little less than an hour. That's including with my lunch in there that I did not charge to the guy. So I only really worked on it for like less than 30 minutes. So I quickly put that on pretty quickly. So when I determined what it was, the guy came back out right after I pulled the emergency valve off, and I was getting the new one prepped. And a lot of times when you do this, when you're doing airlines and stuff like valves, it's one of the best things is just take your phone and just take pictures of all the airlines. It's just a lot easier. I used to take a Sharpie and mark 1, 2, 3, but that was not always reliable. So taking a picture at all different angles is always a good thing to do. At least I didn't really need to look at the pictures. It was just in case. The airlines were pretty much obvious where they went. For me. I mean, for other people, it would probably been different, but... And I just got done with that, I had like 20, 15 minutes left of the day. I'm just cleaning up the mess, fixing the box after the huge mess of dealing with that. And I already had a bitch of a day, so I was ready to call it at 4. 5 minutes before I was gonna leave, getting cleaned up and everything, my boss is like, "Oh, I need you to do me a favor." I was like, and they told me I had to do an inspection. I'm like, fuck. Because an inspection, what's called a DOT inspection, takes an hour to do. They give you an hour to do. And then there's another inspection called PM inspection. It's pretty much almost the same thing, but there's a couple things you have to do different. But that's another hour. But I think luckily I got it like an hour and 20 minutes, so I did pretty good time. And plus, what's wild, I found one part that I'd never seen missing without a problem, without the person having a problem. It's called the leveling valve that keeps the trailer level, because if it's too low, if the leveling valve says, "Oh, the trailer's too high," it would lower it down. And if it's too low, it would bring it back up. Well, the linkage that was supposed to be there was missing. But that was an easy fix. And luckily, he also came in for what's called an ABS. But another person did it before I started the inspection. It's the brake system. Anti-brake system, I think that's what it's called. That, most of the newer trailers, I think in like mid-90s and up, are supposed to have them. Like mid-90s and down, it's okay without it. And fixing an ABS issue is a bitch also. Luckily, that guy, I guess, had no issues. He fixed it pretty quickly, because I was only ready to start and he already had it done quick. Yeah, I'm thinking how long it's going to take. I might have a little time to look around, so that's another reason I was a little frustrated, because the store is only open till 6. And I'm not going to be in there forever. I just don't want to be stuck in that to the point where I'm like, fuck. Because I was planning to get a couple Neo Geo games. Because actually today was cool. Not only I got paid, I got paid for my job was giving us paid initiative for you to have your shot. Let's just say that, for not getting a strike, a certain shot that you take. You could either get one version of the shot. You just get one. I get the one that takes the second. It takes 2 shots. So that came in. So I finally got that Neo Geo NVS to AES adapter paid. It was covered from that. So I don't have to pay $400 for it. I paid a little less than half that. So I can't wait for that thing to come in. But my best friend is actually going to send me. What's cool, he bought some Neo Geo cards. I think a couple of them are bootleg. But he bought like 4 or 5 Neo Geo games for $5. I was like, damn. Where he is, I wouldn't be shocked. But if he wants to tell you where he is, I am. Even though I'm not gonna say where he is located. Obviously, but even though I don't know his pinpoint location, but I was just glad I had to pay for that, and then he's gonna get me a shipping. I offered to pay for the games, but he just pay for the shipping. It's like, nice, thanks. I mean, throw him a few bucks for the games too. Just be nice. But, dude, it was smuggy like a mofo today. Dude, it was just bad. Like, when I don't have my freaking, you could call it a fan. It's more like a blower. It spins and blows air at you. Thing's awesome. I have a cheap box fan that you can barely fill it. I don't know if I put it in my room, then maybe it'd be a different story. Because in a giant area, you just can't fill it. I don't know. Or it's just a piece of shit fan. And I didn't buy the cheapest, so like you figure I would got some quality. But I really just need to get one of these. I used to have these real big industrial, not one of those really big industrial fans, but it was kind of industrial a little bit, because when I used to, in the old house that I used to live in, like, for 16, 15 years, give or take, I would have a big metal fan that I would use that, not only it made it, I hate when it's just dead silence. So it may just give you that little bit nice noise with nice air. Because a lot of times, I hate to say this, mainly my father was cheap as fuck with the air conditioner. So a lot of times when I lived there, I'm like, dude, like, I can't believe how long I survived during the first summer when I came back here. Because I would sleep on top of the bed without no sheets because I was hot. But I'm at the video game store. I'll be back. Alright, guys, this is a quick outro for Video Game Hunting episode 46, part 1. I was gonna have a lot more added, but I was sidetracked. A good type of sidetracked. When I got out of the game store, the first game store, I was been contacting with my best friends, like we couldn't really contact too much. A lot of times when he's available to text, he would text when I'm kind of like half tired, like half sleepy, or at work. I send something back, but then I just came to my brain. It's like, dude, we should do a freaking podcast, or we got so much stories. So when I got out of the game store, I went around to 3 vintage stocks, and I stayed on the Skype call with him, and I showed him around, and he was when I kept. Sometimes I had it forward towards me, but then he saw that he recognized the old jobby. So I was like, you know what? Because he had been around forever, so I switched it around so he can get some, just look at the old area. So, we were just chatting. When I go to the vintage stock, I was like, dude, you should check this out. Look at this. Look at that. And then he would react to it. I wish I would record that part, his reaction. I should have, but then I got home. I was driving around a few places, showing them off a little bit, just reminiscing, because we hadn't really especially talked to each other personally, like on the phone forever, because he's out doing his thing, I'm out doing my thing, and it's just that's what happens when we're not in the same area no more. But I got home and I'm already hit 2 hours of chatting of like all the stuff. It would have been awesome to talk about. And there was a couple of times I told him, I was like, dude, we should record this. We should have recorded this. Then it's like, dude, and I had one story I had to talk about. And I didn't want to react it out. So I knew I had to record. I was like, dude, let's at least do 30 minutes. And he was up for it. So 30 minutes turned into, I think, another hour and 15 minutes, give or take, of a bunch of crazy stories. So it's not only we're planning. Where once he locks down his YouTube channel name and what he wants to do, I think he's into wanting to review food and alcohol. So I'm gonna shout him out so he can get some people hopefully quickly. So we did an hour and 15 minutes, but I have an idea. Not only we talk about crazy, old school stories, I wouldn't mind talking about, if we want to talk about video games, talk about wrestling, sports, anything. I mean, like if there's free time, I have free time. When I have free time and when he has free time, I wouldn't mind just to piece something together for you guys. It was extremely awesome. Just, dude, we chatted over 3 hours. I wish I recorded all 3 hours. But I guarantee you, there's some stuff that we didn't. There's some stuff we totally didn't mention, but so on the show, the less cooler thing, it's still cool, but at the second to last the second vintage stock I went to, found this Atari 2600 holder for, I think it was like $2. Yeah, $2. That's actually a freaking good deal. And I can actually hang this on the wall. It has holes to do it, so I might even do that. I love these holders. Especially like I showed him, he's like, that's old school when it has wood on it. So I was like, yeah. So I'll be showing that again on my, on my pickups, live pickups. I got a couple of them right here from last week. I don't have a lot from last week. I was broke most of last week. My fault. But the two cooler things I picked up was at the game store that I had about 20 minutes to spare, but I still had a few minutes left before I left. But I've been talking about this for a while, and I picked up a couple of these games. First is for the Neo Geo MVS cart for $50. Is Baseball Stars Professional for $50 for the Neo Geo MVS. This is an actual cart for the Neo Geo arcade system. So it ran off these carts. So, I mean, you can't just take one of these and plug them into a Neo Geo AES, the console, without the adapter. And then the reason I picked this one up is when I was playing my 161 games in one multi-cart for the Neo Geo AES, is Street Hoops for $60. But I had some trades, so I lowered that down to, I paid $70 for both, give or take. So I was happy about that. So yeah, I enjoyed playing Street Hoops on the Neo Geo. So now I got the arcade cart. And now you're wondering what? You don't have the arcade unit. But I did just buy the Neo Geo MVS adapter to the AES, the console. So I will start. They have a bunch of these. I have pictures that I'll put it on here. You've seen it in the recent one if you watched it, but I might still have pictures over there of this. I did a lot of deleting pictures recently, but if I still have it, I will show off how many they had. I'm gonna definitely be picking them off because that is my new drug of choice. That's why I consider video game shopping is my drug of choice. So, and honestly, and one thing I did recently is that I actually took this case bookshelf right there. I actually had that in the closet. I always use it, then I retire. I use it and retire it because I would get a book on a bookshelf. So I actually put this one out in the yard for someone to take. And then I was thinking, where the hell am I going to put these Neo Geo games when I get them? So I was like, luckily no one picked it up, so I pulled it back out and put my Neo Geo games. And I'll probably put some of those Atari bookcases right there too. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. So, sorry for a small video. I will have pictures to show you in the middle of this. So, if you miss the pictures, go back in the middle of this video. and I had a bunch of pictures that I took of going game shopping, and I highly suggest look at them. It's cool because at the video game store they had a ton of boxes, and I bought a lot of these boxes from them. I think, well, maybe some of them. I know I bought the Atari box off of them. Maybe a couple of them. Like I think my Xbox One box, the PS3 box, a few boxes from them because they had a ton of them. Try to look around because I don't think not as many as I thought I did, but some of them I did pick up from them. So they still had a badass collection of boxes. They do sell these boxes. So every once in a while I look at the boxes they have on top to see if I'm interested. And a lot of them are like, oh, I want them, but I'm pretty sure expensive. But that is it. Thank you for watching, guys. See ya.